And then what are some of the stories or trends, or what are you seeing out there today? What some of the big topics you guys like to cover, see out there?
Well, you got on the pro side, of course, PBA is doing really well. Our people cover them everywhere from the staff itself at PBA to people at USBC to some of our writers covering, because obviously they're most visible. They're on
Hmm.
most of the more of the time between January and they just wrapped up now for the year pretty much with the league. So they're kind of done for the year for the most part. On the USBC side, we cover things like the Open Championships, the Masters, the Queens, the Women's Championships, some of those I've written. And then there's a lot of like for myself, I've been doing a lot of tournaments around the world for Bowlers Journal. There's the Singapore Open I did a story on. There's some tournaments here. Storm has a couple tournaments that they run. And then so we'll cover some of those. And then on the trend side, we've done stuff from the string pins. I haven't personally, but
Mm.
we had people talking about string pins in the media
Yeah.
and the growth of those. And then the growth of, for a couple of years ago, is virtual reality games and stuff like that. What are the kind of, it's funny when you go to Bowl Expo, you get to see what is the latest and greatest and newest stuff. A lot of it deals with stuff that has nothing to do with the sport of bowling and has more to do with the recreation and entertainment of bowling. That's one of the things
Right.
that a lot of things have expanded. Bowling industry does a thing called Amusement Alley, and BJ does a thing about the non-traditional stuff. So there are, and again, a lot of that has been because of the proliferation of family entertainment centers. That's one of the biggest things that I've seen over the 40 something years I've done this is the change from the traditional bowling alley to the family entertainment center. So it's not
Right.
all about bowling anymore. And I know you guys are very heavily into that with your marketing
Mhm.
stuff. In the old days, it was basically you had bowling lanes, maybe a mom and pop, 12 lanes, and a bar, a snack bar with like pizza and popcorn.
Right.
But now you got these places that have world class chefs,
Yeah.
gourmet food. I mean, they're known. Some of the centers now are known way more for their food than and the bowling.
It's true.
Is
Yeah.
Bowling is just kind of a part of it as opposed to the
Right.
only thing. So that's
Mhm.
maybe the biggest thing we've seen change in terms of the facilities themselves. And then on the bowler side, the biggest change is the sheer number of people. You have a lot of people, more people in the last 10 or 20 years, a lot of people who go bowling, but a lot fewer people who have gone bowling in a league setting than say when I started.
Right.
There was like 5 or 6 million people. The peak of bowling was around 1979, 1980. There was about 9 million
Mm.
people going bowling every week. They were
Wow.
members of the three bowling congresses, which at that
Mhm.
time was ABC for men only at the time, WIBC for women at the time, and then American Junior Bowling Congress, later YABA for the youth. They had gotten down, they pretty much dropped for 35 consecutive years or something like that, even before the pandemic. And then the pandemic, of course, itself took a toll. However, the great news for the industry, and this is really cool for those of us telling stories, is that since the pandemic and even after things have gotten somewhat normal, bowling is doing very well right now. And
Mhm.
not only have a lot of people, most people come back, but they've been able to attract a lot of new people to the both the sport and the recreation, because I think what the pandemic taught people is that we are creatures of being together. We're
Right.
creatures of
Social.
commiserating with each other. Now, whether that's on a
Mhm.
regular basis, once a year or twice a year, whatever, it doesn't matter. But that's what I think you've seen a lot of is the growth of just people playing the game in some way. And as Chad Murphy, the CEO of the executive director of USBC, likes to say, all bowling is good. It doesn't matter if it's organized. It doesn't matter if it's a competition. All bowling
Right.
is good. And I agree with him because once you get the bug, it can be in a clubby kind of fancy place where you're just women are coming in high heels and all that. But if they enjoy the activity, there are people whose competitive juices will go, I think I might want to do this on more than just a fun basis. And so
Right.
the more people you introduce to the game, this, whatever, then all of a sudden they turn to the sports side of it. And that's a key point is that bowling is both a recreation and a sport. I equate it to like softball. You've got your beer leagues, you got your leagues. You may have played in some where you've got the keg of beer sitting at second base.
Right.
And if you pass it, you get a shot or a drink. And then there's tournaments and then there's regular stuff. And so
Right.
bowling has the same thing. Our challenge is that there are still media who don't believe that. They only see the recreation side. They only
Right.
see the Friday night drinking league and it's cigarettes, and which of course most places don't even allow anymore.
Yeah.
That's actually another of the big trends over the years is the whole changing of society from this smoking society to this non-smoking society on the indoor level. And that's
Right.
really benefited bowling a lot. in that.
Hmm.
So there's been some. So we've written a lot. Our people have written about these various changes and the things that go on day to day. Just the tournaments that happen on the competition side. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of the great thing is there's a lot of really cool people that up and coming out. I'm writing getting ready to write a story on a young kid here from Dallas who's 19 years old and has won 5 regionals, and
Wow.
he's going on tour next year. And so there's just some really doing something on Chris Warren. He's got 2 lanes of string pins in his pro shop in Plano, Texas.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else in the world has that.
Mm.
Just different things that you can write about, just looking for interesting things.
Hey, did you like this video? Great. We make 10 of them a week. Subscribe to learn more and keep learning about what's working in the industry. Talk to you then.